are you guys doing here? Are you guys discussing the philosophy of the Minuteman? Sweet. You know, I love discussing this topic. So let me throw my hat in the ring because I got a couple of ideas that I think you guys are going to like. But before we dive into the video, let's take a look at today's sponsor, the Chinese spy balloon.
现在我有冰淇淋，我很喜欢冰淇淋，但是速度与激情就比冰淇淋。
That's right. Today's sponsor is the Chinese spy balloon. Now, whether you're, like flying your balloons over the U.S. in order to get information on like nuclear missile silos or something like that, or if you just had a little oopsie, a little teeny weeny accident where your weather balloon ended up going over U.S. airspace, no worries. You see, what they're actually doing is they're testing our reaction time so they can make sure that you and me are on the losing side of World War III. So thank you, China, for sending your spy balloons over here. You fucking pieces of shit. And also, thank you to the US government for not reacting in a decent amount of time. Seriously though, guys, what the hell is going on? Like, we got Chinese spy balloons flying over the US, or UFOs, whatever the hell they're calling them, because they shot down some over Alaska and called them UFOs. Now, the conspiracy theorists think that they're aliens or some shit. We also got a bunch of unreported freaking incidents where the environment's getting fucked up, like East Palestine. But then, like, that one's been reported on a decent bit. But then there's a bunch of others around the country. Like, there was just one in Florida a couple of days ago. No one's fucking talking about it. What the hell's going on? But anyway, like, looking at the world today, it reminds me of just how key it is to actually be prepared in times like these. So, you guys didn't come here to listen to me have like a little schizo rant. You guys came here to listen to me talk about Minuteman preparedness levels or whatever. Honestly, I haven't figured out what the title of this video is going to be yet, but you guys came here to listen to me talk about that. So let's go on ahead and let's just get into it. So in order for us to understand basically the concepts I'm trying to put out in this video, we need to first understand what a Minuteman / prepared citizen actually is. In order to look at that, we need to look at the U.S. Constitution. More specifically, the Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This does not give the government the right to give you firearms, right? This isn't a right that is given to you by the government. This is a protected right, meaning that the government does not have the right to infringe on your right to keep and bear arms. Why do we have the Second Amendment? So why we have the Second Amendment is so that way we can do what it says to do in the preamble of the Constitution, right? So this is an excerpt from the preamble. It's not the whole thing. By the way, when I was writing this, I was thinking of that, like, whatever that fucking cartoon is, I'll like put it right here or whatever. But that cartoon where like, we watched it in like elementary school where they were like, we the people, in order to form a perfect union.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union.
Whatever. Anyway, so we need, as Americans, we have the innate, not sure if that's a word, but we have the responsibility to provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. So what does this mean? This means that we as Americans are tasked to provide for the common defense of not just yourself, but also those around you, those that are part of your group, part of your community, those that you care about. Promote the general welfare, making sure that life is good. And secure the blessings of liberty, liberty being freedom, the blessings of liberty being those rights that are given to us by God, not rights given to us by a government or by another man, but rights given to us by God that we have to ourselves and our posterity. Posterity meaning children. There's a reason why these words that I've underlined are actually capitalized in the preamble to the Constitution. It's because this is what we as Americans are tasked to do, which is why we as Americans have a responsibility to be prepared to defend our nation, to ensure that we have a state of general welfare, and to secure the blessings of liberty. How do we do that? With the right to keep and bear arms. And how can we do that the best? By it not being infringed. So now that we have that basis, let's go over how we can actually achieve that like Minuteman status, or that ability to, go out there and do the things that need to be done in order to protect what we have as Americans. Now, before I get into it, not everybody's going to be a Minuteman. But the levels that I'm going to go through here, they are what you should be trying to do. And again, this is my personal opinion, but it's what you should be trying to meet. As in, there are different levels where there is a requirement to meet that level. And if you meet those requirements, then you are at that level. And in my personal opinion, you should not try to go to the next level until you meet all the requirements of the level that you're currently at, or that you're trying to get to. Basically, you shouldn't start at level 0 and try to immediately be a level 3. So this first level I want to talk about is level 0, also known as the bare minimum. Not going to talk about it too much because it's the bare minimum. But in my opinion, the bare minimum you should have at level 0, or, to be a part of this, to be like, just pro 2A, or to be like a normie, for, those of us that are more into that schizo type shit. You need a semi-auto rifle with 10 or more mags, and a handgun with 5 or more mags. This should be your baseline that you should start off with. Don't go anywhere higher than like trying to meet level 0, unless if you meet these 2 very small, somewhat insignificant requirements. This is where you enter that Minuteman type of concept or category, or that prepared citizen type of concept or category. Man, it's getting kind of hot. We're gonna have to fucking do a wardrobe change. Alright, so next level is level 1. This is the EDC guy, or like the tactical Timmy. Up here, you have self-realization that you have Second Amendment rights at level 0. Then down here is where you start taking them a little bit more seriously, okay? So you have and also this goes for the rest of these levels, but they carry over, right? So you start with this level, and then that carries over to this level. So at this level, you got a handgun. Down here, you start actually still carrying that handgun, and you also start to implement medical, or like a tourniquet into your everyday carry, and also tools. I say tools because if you want to be like a prepared citizen kind of guy, you're going to use tools like screwdrivers, or like not just like a multi-tool, or like stuff like that. That's a good start. But screwdrivers, wrenches, socket sets, stuff like that, you're going to use a lot more, and you should know how to use, because you're going to use it a lot more than you would your fucking concealed carry handgun. Unless you live in like Detroit or Chicago.
Take him to Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything with that! No!
And honestly, you can't conceal carry in those places, I don't think. I'd have to check up on the laws up there. But unless you live in a fucking place like that, you're probably going to be using your tools a lot more than you would your freaking handgun, right? And then the medical aspect of it is because if you are willing to get into a gunfight because you could still carry, then you should also be willing to patch yourself up. Now, a good start with all this, Glock 19. Glock 19, honestly, in my opinion, is one of the best handguns ever made because it's the perfect size to be considered like a full duty handgun, but also it is small enough to be concealed pretty easily. All right, so just to give you guys an overall idea of like what this level looks like. So first off, as you can see, because I'm kind of printing like a cringy FUD, but I have my Glock 19. I have an extra mag, and I'll go over ammo in a second. And then I have an ankle tourniquet that I keep down there. And then I have a box cutter. I prefer to use a box cutter because you can just change out the razor blades instead of having to keep a knife on you that's sharp. And also, this is fucking sharp as hell, and you can do almost anything you can with a knife and so much more with the box cutter. And then also, I have medical that I keep in my car and tools that I keep in my car. So in my car, I have a basic blowout kit. It's just some cheap one I got off of Amazon. In all honesty, it'll probably do what it's meant for, but I wouldn't trust it over a long period of time because some of those materials are probably going to degrade. But that need has been met. And then also, in my work bag, one second. In my work bag, I keep this. It's one of those like elementary school like pencil holders. But inside of it, I have, you know, pens and pencils and stuff. But one second. I have this, which is just the bare minimum of like medical stuff, a couple of Band-Aids, one thing of gauze, a little bit of like tape or medical tape, ibuprofen, and there's bee sting cream in here as well. But this is what I keep on my person, and then in my car, if there was like an active shooter kind of scenario, I have an actual blowout kit. And you know, if shit went down while I was inside the office or whatever, then, and I got like a round or something, or something crazy happened where I had mass hemorrhaging to one of my arteries, I think that's the right term, then I could throw that tourniquet on there instead. But this is just an example of level 1. Then really quick, before we move on to level 2, I have 2 examples of self-defense rounds that I use, you know, Glock 19 9mm, but the first one is the 6 Sauer Elite Performance. This is what I primarily use, but then this, the Winchester Silver Tip, is another good option that I think a lot of people can use. This is a very affordable option. This one's a little bit more pricier if I can remember right, but you don't want to be going into a like self-defense scenario rocking 9mm ball. You want something that's going to have a lot of punch, but then also stop in its intended target, which is why you should be using hollow points and self-defense rounds. And as always, what should be part of everybody's EDC is a grenade.
We have, of course, a
Surprise grenade.
always a surprise grenade. Grenades are always good to have.
So unfortunately, the whiteboard isn't big enough for me to fit everything, so I'm probably gonna go 2 levels at a time on here. But it's fucking YouTube, you can go back and look at them if you want to. So yeah. This is going to be a long video. Alright, so we went over level 0 and level 1. So this is level 2, which is, as I call it, the EDC Plus. This adds on to your EDC, so this is considering that you're already still carrying a handgun. So the next step, and you know, also those tools and that medical. So the next step is to get a truck gun. Why? Well, in case shit pops off. Would you rather get into an altercation or like a gunfight with just a pistol, or would you rather get into one with a fucking, you know, AR-15? So, a truck gun. I recommend a AR pistol or something that could be folded up, like, honestly, I'll probably get some flack for this, but like the Kel-Tec Sub 2000, other guns like that. Or also, Brass Facts has a great video on it, but like a TP9 or some other kind of like pistol conversion, or not conversion, pistol brace kit, like the,
The Flux Raider.
The Flux Raider, that's what it's called. Anyway, so to go along with your truck gun, I think you should have an outside the waistband holster, because it's going to be a lot quicker, and we're assuming that shit is currently trying to hit the fan. That drawing from a concealed position is going to be a lot slower than, because you know you have to clear whatever clothing you're wearing. It's going to be a lot slower than just coming up from the side, right? And then also to go along with that, outside the waistband pistol and rifle mags. So getting like what I use is a S-Tac Kiwi, and I just run it through my belt loops, tuck my shirt over the side, and then I have another T-Rex Arms Ragnarok, maybe? Whatever the hell their like outside the waistband pistol holster is. But that's what I keep in my car, so that way if shit pops off, I can just grab that stuff out of my car, have it on me, and it's not entirely overt to the point where people are gonna start drawing attention to you from far away. Once they're close up on you and they can see that shit, then yeah, they're gonna draw attention to you. But if you can keep your distance from big crowds, then you should be okay. Now the next level that I want to talk about is level 3, which I like to call the basic Minuteman. This is like, you know, the mom's basement operator. So, the requirements to meet this level is a chest rig with 3+ mags, external medical, comms, a go bag, and then maybe some training, but this can wait until later levels. And another thing that I want to talk about going into all of these is being fit. You know, you can have all kinds of Gucci gear, but I mean, the man himself said it better than I could.
Fitness. If you're not fit, you're gonna die. Get out there, run, work out, don't die, guys.
So yeah, that's something to take into account. That surpasses every single level as a very high priority, okay? But, so chest rig or 3+ mags. You know, if you want to have like 5 mags or 4 mags, that's fine, but at the minimum you need 3. External medical. That means an actual blowout kit on your person, not something that's, you know, in your car or like tucked into your rucksack or whatever. Something that's on your person that you can access quick, that all your buddies that you might be with, or your goon buddies, know where it's at. Comms. This is a debated topic. Risky Krisky does a lot of stuff about it, but comms is important for, you know, squad level communication, stuff like that, but also for communication between different Minutemen across a wide range of geography, right? You want to be able to talk to the guys that are fighting the Chinese, you know, in California, and then you also want to talk to the guys that are fighting the Chinese in Florida. But that also comes with a big range of, oh, well, if we're fighting a threat that is a threat to our way of life that is, way more advanced than just your basic civilian Minuteman, then comms is going to be something that they're going to jam first, or something that they're going to be listening to. And yeah, that's one thing, but this right here just means the ability to listen on like a ham radio or something like that. So like a Baofeng, Baofeng, however the fuck it's pronounced. Stuff like that, shortwave, longwave radios. That's something that you need to start considering whenever you are trying to meet this basic Minuteman requirement. Also a go bag. Stuff that goes inside your go bag. I'm talking some type of like extra clothes, something that you can use as covering concealment, something that you change based on the season, because what works in spring and summer isn't really going to work in fall and winter, if you catch my drift, because leaves fucking fall and shit. But I made a video on that. It'll be linked in the description on covering concealment, but those are things to consider. Also inside your go bag, you need, as a bare minimum, at least for me, at least 2,000 calories worth of food. You can have like 3 protein bars that are like 700 calories each and meet that requirement, or you can have like a bunch of little tiny snacks where like it's like 100 calories here, 200 calories there, whatever, right? But you need to have, in my personal opinion, at least 2,000 calories worth of food in your go bag, or in your Minuteman reaction bag, whatever you want to call it, right? Another thing is you need to have the ability to take those tools that I was talking about with you, because a lot of times, you're going to be using those a lot more than you'll be using a weapon. Other things that go in your go bag, you need more ammo, extra ammo. I have it's just an Army issued, we used to call them a purse. Other units probably call them something different, but it's the Army issued bandolier. That has the ability to carry 6 extra AR mags. So if I have 3 mags on my person and then 6 extra mags in the bag or in my ruck or whatever, then I can, sustain myself for a little bit of time. And that's the big thing about being a Minuteman, is the ability to sustain yourself, because whenever you are a Minuteman, you are, able to go at a moment's notice, but you have to stay, you have to be able to sustain yourself until a bigger force or a more organized force that has logistical capabilities can replace you or join you, right? So you have to have the ability to sustain yourself. Another thing that goes into your basic, Minuteman bag or your go bag or whatever is basic PPE, right? So gloves and eye pro. If you're tromping through the woods, the last thing you want is to catch a briar in the eye, and then you're out of the fight. Same thing with gloves. The last thing you want is for your hand to get smashed, and boom, you're out of the fight because you smashed your trigger finger, right? And then also to go along with that is, especially if you live in an area where it rains a lot, but you need wet weather gear and the ability to plus up your layers. I wouldn't go as far as to say you need a sleep system at night, but you do need the ability to insulate yourself, like whenever the temperature drops at night, if you're doing like a 2 or 3 day mission. And the last thing I want to hit on that should go in your go bag is a compass and a map of your current area. That is just something basic that I feel like you should have even if you're going to go hiking. But you need to be able to navigate the land, and you need to be able to know where you are and know where your enemy is and know your surroundings pretty much. So map and compass. And so with this last one, training, right? I said maybe because it can wait until later ones, but at this level you should be considering it, like self-training. There's all kinds of videos on YouTube on different ways to like clear a room. However, I recommend you don't do that by yourself. Patrolling, different tactics that you can use on the individual level as well as in a small group, a small team, as well as something that you should be doing at the Minuteman level is basic woodcraft or, woodsmanship or bushcraft. right? So knowing how to set up a shelter out of sticks, knowing how to start a fire, knowing how to hunt, live off of the land, stuff like that. Knowing different knots and how they can be used to like tie stuff up in a tree so that way you can, I don't know, have your go bag stationed up above like the current eye level so that way it's not easily found, or you know, sending up your food in a bear bag if you're staying in a place that has a bear population, or even to deter raccoons, you know, things that you don't want to go wrong whenever you're trying to fix things that have already gone wrong, right? All right, so this is an example of what level 3 should look like. I'm gonna give you guys a couple more examples, but so this, I have 4 mags, and then over here, I have 2 pistol mags. I have a multi-tool and a flashlight on this side. And right up here in front, I have medical plus a compass. Then also, I have my pistol. Yes, this is a Glock 17. I know, I'm so original because I have 2 Glocks. I have a Glock 17 and a Glock 19, both of them with TLR1 HL on them. I like the HL because you can, by the way, empty mag, empty gun. But I like the HL because you can put your, if you have to, like if you're getting up into a self-defense scenario where you have to take your weapon out and then put it up against somebody, if you put your weapon directly, then it will go out of battery and then you have nothing. But if you put your weapon, like if you have your light right here extending out in front, but also, like this kit right here holds 4 mags plus 2 pistol, and then I have the ability to carry 4 pistol in total, but I choose to keep this one for admin type stuff. But another good thing about this kit is that not only can I just throw this on and I have the ability to shoot 120 rounds plus the one I have in the gun, so 150 rounds, but I also have the ability to plus up my kit with a battle belt. This is an over the belt kind of thing. It's not the kind that has the Velcro that goes on the inside, but I have the ability to add to it. So now I have 4 pistol mags. I have 6 rifle mags plus the one in the gun. Then I also have medical back here and a dump pouch if I need to. This system, this kit, is something that I would wear if I were, let's say, if I were going out on a short like patrol through the woods where I didn't need a like a backpack or anything like that with extra stuff in it. If I knew for a like stone cold fact that I was only going out for a couple of hours, then I would throw all this on. I don't recommend wearing belt kit whenever you are going to be wearing a bag, because then it would just fall down right on top of this, and then you have no access to the stuff on the back of your belt line, and then also the stuff on the back of your belt line is going to be pushing that bag up, and it's just going to be uncomfortable and kind of wonky. But this is another example of something that you could have at level 3. Now, before we go to level 4, I want to talk about level 3.5, which is the Prepper. This, I wouldn't say is recommended if you want to be a Minuteman, but I do recommend this for people who are of the mindset that they want to be a Minuteman. You should want to be not just a Minuteman that can go out and, you know, seize or destroy whatever, or, you know, cause havoc in a guerrilla warfare type scenario, you know, all in Minecraft. But you also want to be like of the mindset that you're a prepared citizen. You're not just prepared for a gunfight, but you're prepared for like any other kind of scenario. So by that, I mean you should have at least 3 months of food stockpiled, medicine for common ailment stockpiles, so not just like ibuprofen or acetaminophen or whatever the hell it's called. Not just like basic generic off-the-shelf painkillers, but I mean like you should have stuff for like infections, diseases, things like that. You should also have multiple guns. Why? So you can give your buddy one, or you can give one to your wife. You should have at least 1,000 rounds per gun, and this is kind of a gray area, like, not really a gray area, but this is kind of like a, how should I put it? Like something that you,
Shake your body, baby, do that fungi. No, you can't control your...
something that varies from weapon system to weapon system. Like, for example, having 1,000 rounds of 5.56 is, you know, good for if you want to get into a gunfight. But like 1,000 rounds of 22 is like nothing. Like 1,000 rounds of 22 could fit inside of like a little, like, tiny box, as compared to 1,000 rounds of 5.56 or 1,000 rounds of 12 gauge or 1,000 rounds of 7.62 by 39, 308, whatever, right? That stuff, it depends on how much space it takes up. Like, for example, I have more 9mm stockpile than I do 5.56 because one, is cheaper, two, I shoot it more because I train more with my handgun than I do my rifle, because I'm more likely to use my handgun in a self-defense scenario, but also because it doesn't take up so much space over there in my closet. Things to consider. Also, another thing you should have is fuel for vehicles, for like, let's say if you have a wood burning stove or a coal stove, fuel for that too. Stuff like, just stuff stockpiled that you use every day, that you need every day to live or to live comfortably. And then also, I recommend homesteading or going off grid. I live in a fucking apartment. I'm not off grid at all. But I do have dreams and aspirations of one day getting to that level, and I recommend you guys do too. You know, you don't need much, like a couple of acres, a couple of fruit trees, a garden with vegetables and stuff like that, and then maybe a couple of cattle that you butcher, like, you know, and then you give half of it to whoever butchered it, and then you get to keep half because you raised it, you know, things like that. Just ways that you can live off-grid without relying on external factors to sustain yourself, as well as electricity. I highly recommend having solar panels, because if they hit you guys with, you know, if they shut the grid down, how are you going to charge those Baofangs that you buy, right? Well, solar panels. Just, again, things to consider. Now, this next level, which is also, in my opinion, the final level, is level 4, which is the full-blown goon. This is like straight schizo, you know, the type of shit that you guys want to be at. You know, this is what you should be going towards, right? So, I put body armor on here because I think in a Minuteman role, body armor is not that applicable, because you want to prioritize speed and maneuverability over your ability to, you know, get shot and survive. Like, personally, that's what I want to prioritize lethality and speed over the ability to be shot and walk away from it. That's just me. But body armor would fall into this scenario because at this point, if you are this far up and you are doing this, then you're probably doing some kind of CQB. You're probably going out there in a force, in a other M word than just Minuteman. You're probably going out there with a group of people, right? And so with that, you're probably pushing through stuff. You're taking more of a risk on your maneuver. So that's where body armor would come into play. It's fucking balaclava. 5+ mag capacity. Honestly, I recommend having 8 on your person. That's just me. You should have the ability to carry 8 mags on your person whenever you're going out and doing shit. If you're gonna be doing this type of shit that you know, like I've been talking about. Defensive tools and obstacles. What does that mean? That means the ability to set up a defensive perimeter, like early warning stuff like tripwires that set off flares, or like having those airsoft smoke grenades or airsoft flashbangs, those are still pretty applicable, right? Being able to cut down trees to block roadways, being able to blow stuff up, like tannerite, some binary explosives that you can buy legally right now, as of right now, that you can buy to, blow stuff up, to disrupt the enemy, right? Obstacles, barbed wire, laying down barbed wire, things like that. Just things that you want to be able to protect your group, your neighborhood, your farm, your whatever, so that way the enemy is deterred from coming up into that place. Night vision and thermals. This goes without saying, but that type of stuff is very important. A lot, like you want to be able to operate under the cover of night as much as possible, because it's just easier to move without being detected. Simple as that. But you also want to be able to see other people during a nighttime scenario. So that's why night vision thermals is here. And I didn't put it on level 3 because I thought, if you're just reacting to something, then I don't think that night vision thermals needs to be on that tier. However, if you want to supplement it with that, go ahead. But to meet like level 3, I don't think that you need night vision. I do think you need comms, but I don't think you need night vision. A ruck for 1 week plus of sustainment. So that means a large rucksack or backpack kind of thing that you can wear, that you can take from place to place with a sleep system, food, more than just 2,000 calories, obviously. Enough food for a week, the ability to filter water, tools that you can use for entrenching yourself or setting up a defensive perimeter, extra clothes, obviously wet weather stuff, that was way back in a different tier, but just more than what you would have in a go bag, something that you can sustain yourself in a gunfight with. Also, at this level, in order to meet this level, you should invest in some training, whether that's, you pay for an online class and they send you a bunch of videos and you're out there in your backyard doing fucking drills, or if you're actually going to like one of these places that people talk about a lot, like Travis Haley and shit, where you're actually out there, punch out, go to work type shit, that's where you should start doing it, is at level 4. And then also, probably one of the biggest things that I want to hit on is level 4, in order to do full-blown goon shit, you need the boys. By that, I mean you need a group. You need people that you can rely on. You need people that are like-minded, people that are willing to do the type of shit that you want to do, right? People that are true red blood Americans that, are willing to use that Second Amendment to do what it tells us to do in the preamble, right? But if you're interested in how many of the boys that you need, Biden actually gave a specific number. Here it is.
Somewhere between 700 billion and $1.3 trillion.
Well, that concludes the video. I hope you guys had fun. I know I did. If you could, leave a comment down below. Tell me that my levels are stupid. Tell me that I'm stupid for what I think. Tell me that I have no opinion, that my opinion's dumb. Comment down below. Do the YouTube shit, like the video, share it with your buddies. Yeah, and have a good day.